Get some rest, Cecilia. You're going to fucking need it.
Welcome back, Jigsaw Pieces, to the Complete Guide to Horror Movies podcast. Today, we're discussing Saw X, the latest Saw movie release. And yes, this finally caps off our Saw playlist, so make sure you check that out in our catalog.
No network would ever hire you. Your face is what they in the business call a channel changer.
Saw X is a prequel to Saw 2 and also a direct sequel to Saw. Kind of like a requel, but it still fits in within the continuity.
But we're not in a sequel, because nobody just makes sequels anymore. We're in a franchise, and there are certain rules to a continuing franchise.
I had a feeling.
And in Saw X, we see that John Kramer is traveling to Mexico in hopes that an experimental procedure may cure his terminal cancer. However, John later discovers that the operation is a scam. This prompts him to kidnap those responsible and subject them to his trademark death traps as retribution. And as we all know, the Saw series is quite long and gestating. There's been different sequels. There's been a sidequel, if you'd like to call it that, with Spiral. We cover all the Saw films in our previous playlist and series. Make sure you check that out.
Can you shut the fuck up?
I think Saw X is the right direction in terms of a sequel. I just don't think it's as perfect as everyone claims that it is.
I mean, I'm dying too. We all are, in a way.
Well, I'm going to put some bold claims out there, and I hope a lot of us agree. I think this is the best, at least since number 6, in my opinion. I don't count number 5, and so right off the bat, I think it's a top 5 Saw film. But I don't know what ranking yet I would put it. But definitely better than Final Chapter, definitely better than Jigsaw, definitely better than Spiral, and definitely better than number 5. So it's in that realm. It's in the top half. And I think it's a return to form. Little bits here and there, but I think it's interesting because obviously we critiqued this so bad with the writing with the prior two, and you've got the same writers come back for this one, but I guess a different director, and the director of Saw 6 has come back. So I think that did it wonders, and yeah, it's interesting the way it's gone, but it also kind of sets it up for just a bit of a mindfuck for people who haven't watched the series and kind of think the 10th one is the 10th continuous entry when really it's sort of, between 1 and 2 or 2 or 3. But yeah, return to form, I think, for Saw fans. I think majority appreciated this one a lot more than at least the last 2.
Yeah. So the past few minutes, all I can think of is the Saw 5 title card where it's just the beat going boom. It's so bad.
I would agree that it is better than Jigsaw and Spiral, but I think I'm done, guys. I think I don't know. I've reached the end of my tether with this series. There was some good gore and shit throughout this, but it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of treading the same ground a lot of the time. I did appreciate the fact that I thought the one new cool thing about the movie was that we kind of got to see the traps and how they play out from John's and Amanda's perspective. You got to see them sort of studying the situation in a way that you've never seen before. I thought that was cool. But it still had a lot of pretty much all the things that I hate about Saw movies were in this movie, and that kind of gave me the shits a little bit.
Looking at the Saw X poster, and I know this is a very silly thing, and yet we're supposed to be talking about favorite parts, but this is our podcast, who cares? In the poster, the things that form an X, the tubes form an X. But in the actual movie, like we can see Coop's background, it doesn't cross over. It's just like normal tubes. And so I thought that was funny straight off the bat. That was the first thing I thought of in the movie. I'm like, it's not an X. And then I was like, we're not supposed to be focused on that. But I thought that trap was like, okay. It wasn't actually one of my favorites per se. I think it was more the fact that seeing into John's psyche with this movie, it's like he's completely deranged in that he'll see someone doing the wrong thing. He's already imagining a trap for them in his head.
Good choice.
The one trap that got under my skin in this movie is when the guy has the things through his arm and he has to cut it out before the bombs explode or some bullshit. That was the only
bombs.
Yeah, it's been probably one of the only like Saw movie traps, whatever, where I've had to be like, oh shit, I don't know if I actually want to watch this because I don't want to see blood spurting and like cutting and all that shit. Like I'm not an edgy teenager like I used to be, so no thanks.
Dream guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, let's spice things up. One of my exes. Oh?
I appreciated that they decided to go somewhere else in terms of filming rather than Canada where it usually is filmed. And they actually went to Mexico, well, parts of Mexico anyway. I kind of appreciate that they went that extra effort and didn't green screen a lot of that. So it's kind of nice to have just a different touch. And I think also just watching for the first half an hour, it kind of felt like a Saw film, kind of didn't, but it was also appreciated to watch John Kramer sort of and everything happening to him up to that point of when everyone gets put in the trap. So, you know, him going to the meeting, him going for the treatment, him flying there, da-da-da.
May I have your attention, please? With those of you dancing and singing in the aisles, please sit down and shut up.
Charlie Clouser always knocks it out of the park. I like that there was a bit of variation to the score this time around. Like it still had sort of the important parts that you sort of expect to hear, but there was sort of like a different feel throughout the movie, which was pretty cool.
It is gripping.
I have like a dislike with how much screen time Tobin Bell had. So like I was like, oh, this is cool. Like we haven't seen him sort of. Surely this movie is the most amount of screen time he's had, surely, in the entire franchise.
Franchise!
Always good to see Shawnee Smith. She was really good in this.
You'll make it, so long as you keep your head.
Some of the traps kind of irked me a little bit and kind of got me going, ugh. The one with the giggly saw, where she's going to saw a leg off.
The sound.
Yeah, the noise was getting to me.
Stop, don't think, just do it!
The traps are so grandiose and bigger and more exciting and thrilling, but it doesn't make sense in the context of the time period where this Saw movie takes place. So that took me out of it. And I know people are giving this praise, but it does bother me that they didn't use some type of de-aging thing for Shawnee Smith's character or John. Even if they just gave Amanda a baseball cap, like, but even if they just like did something, because it is obvious.
Begging won't help, trust me. You're not the first to try.
Shawnee Smith is not that old.
No. There was a shot of Kramer when he's in the mirror and he's like pretty much half naked. And I was like, oh, he actually kind of looks, well, his body looks older. I mean, he generally looks the same from the first one, to be honest. I don't really feel like he's, I mean, not that much. Maybe the hair.
Absolutely fucking hated the return of Hoffman.
Out of all the men to cheat, you picked John Kramer?
Can we talk about that? I fucking hate Hoffman as a character. When I saw him on screen, I was just like, okay, this is what Saw 11 is going to be about. I just know it.
It tried to do like a Super Bowl like sensor when you got up.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was it MIA when she stuck the finger up and like blurred after? Yeah. Blur.
There we go.
Like, I'm sorry, that whole post-credit scene, not even post-credit, it was like mid-credit scene where it's him being like, of all the people you chose to fuck around with John Kramer.
Yeah, and I didn't even pick that up because it's in the trailer, and it's obviously at the start of the movie when John rings in and he's like detective, and then I think you hear his voice, and then but I still didn't pick it up. I don't know why. Maybe I just thought I don't know who I was expecting. Maybe Lindsay or something.
I did, and that was enough. I was like, that better be it.
Epic bad luck.
I kind of have a mixed feeling with, I guess, the traps. So the opening kind of irked me that the eyeball trap was on the poster, because really every other movie, every trap that's been on the poster actually happened in the movie, and actually, well, I think so, yeah, actually happens in the movie. So I appreciate they probably went for the X because of the the X symbol, but it just irked me that it was a dream sequence essentially. Cool trap. But it just kind of irked me that, it wasn't actually part of the film. It was, but it was just a dream. I didn't know if the traps were just meant to be really unwinnable just for the sake, because it's like a medical type thing. And I just thought it was weird. Like, the one we talked about the leg, I just thought, wiring off your leg, I feel like is enough for 3 minutes. But then she has to, put the blood, the pipe thing in, and then watch the old school, like fuel gauge, take its sweet ass time to like buffer, and then the same with is it Mateo with the brain?
Yeah
And then I just thought, so you're expecting him to in 3 minutes like carve open your skull, pull this little cranium, whatever you want, into a thing, let that fuzz,
A piece of your brain.
This is insane. Kramer!
and then the one with the girl,
Use the tool above you.
No, you can't let me out! Let me out!
it reminds me of that stupid lawn gnome trap that was in Saw 7 that was like a 10-second preview where they dropped into and so the thing I didn't understand was, like, if I was her, I would guarantee I would probably drop that sledgehammer at some point, hitting my leg or my arm. And I thought, well, if she drops that, what happens? Like, she's just going to be hanging there, and I just thought it was kind of a dumb trap that she's hanging in the air. Like, it was pretty brutal what happened, but that didn't really feel like a Saw trap to me.
Shut up.
Unwinnable traps. That's pretty silly. None of the characters were, I guess they're not really meant to be, at least the ones in the traps. I guess they're the bad guys. They're the antagonists, I suppose.
I already have someone trying to murder me at work. It is the last thing I need when I'm sitting down for an elegant, salty dinner and romantic bone sesh.
The Cecilia character's hell comical, like a fucking just a crazy villain.
I'm not an angel.
I hated the blood trap waterboarding thing. That was fucking
yeah.
sick. The reveal Hello Zep bit was terrible. There was something that happened in this. I don't know if it was Spiral or Jigsaw, but I had the same point in a previous podcast, which was that if you're doing something in a reveal, it can't be something that was said like 2 minutes before or something like that. Like it doesn't pack a punch.
Yeah.
Like she just said, one day he'll kill you or whatever the fucking line was. I was like, they just said that. That's not a fucking don't you fucking try and trick my brain. I know what you're doing here. But yeah, very lame reveal.
When I saw her reach for this, I was like, okay, what's going to happen? There? And then she was like, and I don't want to win.
Wow. The way it ended, like Happy walking into the sunset, what the fuck was that? I don't know. That pissed me off as well. Like I said, I think I'm done. I tried, but other than kind of like the irk factor of like some of the traps that kind of made me go, ugh. And seeing Tobin Bell act a little bit more, and then realizing like, okay, I kind of see why it was in small doses before. It's kind of not for me, I'm afraid. So we'll see what happens with like Saw 11 and see if I can be revitalized. it just didn't happen with this one. But I am thankful that it's at least a step up, and I feel like they tried a bit more with this than they did with Jigsaw and Spiral.
I'm gonna let him spin like a spiral.
The whole thing with the blood waterboarding or whatever it's called. I was just like, this seems like something a teenager would write and be like, oh, I thought of a sword trap. You want to have a look? And it's like, so what's the point of it? Like,
yeah.
Like, okay, Amanda and John strap themselves into it, take turns, and then turns out they were safe the entire time. But then their plans got fucked up by the little kid playing soccer.
And now that I think about it, that trap is just reminiscent of number 2, when the guy is drowning in the pig blood. You know, and the pigs are getting dropped into the, and he's like at the collar, and he's kind of struggling to stay above the pig juice.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that without the pigs, really.
Are you a pig, Amanda?
No, Miss Trunchbull.
Do I allow pigs in my school?
Somebody in the comments is going to be like, BP, it's actually number 3, not number 2. And then they'll cancel you.
Is it 3? Is it 2? I think it's 2.
Yeah, I think it's number 3 because it was the judge.
Sorry, yeah.
How dare you? You call yourself a podcaster? No. I know the whole point of Saw X was that it was supposed to show that John's always in control, and when something does go off script or whatever, he always wins in the end.
Yeah.
But then it was like, so the whole point was that everyone was supposed to die. Like, the girl was supposed to get her head cut off, Mateo was supposed to get his brain, whatever. And then, what's her name? The other girl was supposed to get radiated to death or whatever. So it just didn't make sense. Also, sorry, I was going to say this while you were talking, BP or Coop. What have you mentioned about the trap that Gabriella's in, where she has to smash her limbs and all that?
Yeah, with the sledgehammer. Yeah.
Yeah, like, what if she dropped the hammer?
That's
like,
what I thought. Yeah.
Like, what if you guys said that? And I thought they could have easily just, like, I don't know, put the sledgehammer in a chain as well, so that, like, it drops with her or something. I don't know how that works, but
I guess part of it was that she probably knew, because she had to kind of push up to get it off the ledge, so she probably knew that she couldn't drop it. But yeah, it was just like, it's pretty heavy with one hand, and you know, whacking that around, you know.
And also, like, you imagine you hit your arm or something with sledgehammer, you might drop it in shock or maybe like, fuck.
And then I was trying to think, was it easier to do it that way? Because I know Cecilia's like, no, use your hand first, and then use your leg and then your hand, whatever way she did.
Yeah. But then Cecilia kills her in the end anyway. I'm like, why didn't you just let her die in the first place then?
Yeah.
She's like, no, I decide or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, she's becoming... Oh, sorry. No, can we just talk about that fucking part where Cecilia is like, and then it was you, Jig fucking Saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about when he goes, fuck off, Amanda? Nobody cares. Yeah. Surprised that's not a meme.
Because I saw Saw X at the movies first with my brother, who's like 20 years old. And then we just looked at each other and we're just like, that's fucking cringe. Like, how would she know that he was Jigsaw as well? They never explained that. Like, anyway. I love how at the start of this episode, I'm like, yeah, this is like a return to form. And they've spent like 45 minutes shitting all over this movie and 5 minutes being like, yeah, it's okay. There's a little bit of trivia for Saw X. First thing that pops up on IMDb is that while editing the eye vacuum trap scene, the editor, Steve Warner, actually received a visit from the Los Angeles Police Department after his neighbors reported screaming coming from his office. So, yeah, I feel like this is a regular trivia part that comes up in every horror movie. Like, neighbors hear something about screaming or torture or whatever, so then they call up to get it investigated. But I know there's also a contradiction between Saw X and Saw 6. So in Saw 6, there was a scene in which John was denied insurance coverage for an experimental cancer treatment located in Norway. However, in Saw X, he seeks this treatment out. So what happened first? Did Saw 6 happened before? Like, that's not necessarily explained. This is the first film in the series to not feature police investigating a murder, which I did pick up on because I also just don't care. Among John's sketches, we see that he's also sketching the rack, which was of course shown in Saw 3. So that was the twisted one that twists the guy's head around, often referred to as the most brutal saw trap. So in the movie, John uses the email address kramerjohn994@gmail.com to send an email to Cecilia. The email address actually works, and viewers can send emails to this address. They will receive a reply stating that John is away, but will reply when he becomes available again.
Attention all useless Kappa sluts. Congratulations! If you're reading this,
it means you've overcome the limitations of your tiny manatee brains and opened an email.
With an 80% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, this is the best reviewed Saw film. The second best reviewed is actually the original with 50%.
Don't fuck with the original.
About the eye vacuum trap again. So despite being a dream sequence of John's, the eye vacuum trap is the first trap in the franchise designed to only maim and not kill the victim upon failure. So maybe they should do more of that. John gets a bit too trigger happy. Maybe he should just be like, hey, I'll just hurt you, not kill you entirely.
Are you kidding me, number 5? It's not doing someone a favor to pour really scalding, super delicious pumpkin spice latte into their open brain.
Most of the previous Saw films, so Saw 1, 2, 3D, Jigsaw, and Spiral, end with the door getting closed. This one ends with the door being opened. In terms of ratings, I'm going to give Saw X 6 out of 10. I think that, return to form, as we've said before. I liked it. It did make me cringe, both at its plot, but also some of the trap scenes. Will I rewatch this? I don't know, probably not in all honesty, but yeah, definitely think it's a better Saw sequel compared to most of the latter films. BP, what is your score?
Well, despite what we said and despite what I said, I'm still biased, and I still think it's a good entry, and yeah, the best one for a while since 6, in my opinion. I'm giving it 7.5. As I said, yeah, I think it's back to its roots. Yes, it has quirks and some things that don't make sense, as does every Saw film, but I had a good time, and I really enjoyed watching it again for a second time. I was worried that I would get bored, but no, I was intrigued and enjoyed the time, and guess look forward to Saw 11 and see where things go. Hopefully it'll be the same, if not better.
Nice. And Coop, last but not least, what is your score?
I'm going to give it 5 horses that have been flogged to death out of 10.
Nice. So I think altogether that's an average of 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yep.
Honestly, the fact that this is now the 10th installment of a horror franchise and it's got like 6 out of 10 kind of says something. I mean, Leprechaun has like 800 movies in it. There's Children of the Corn, where a fucking remake was filmed in Lithgow. Lithgow, of all places. And that got like 1 or 2 out of 10. So I'm just like, you know what, this is probably half of the course. I mean, like, is there going to be a Final Destination 10? I don't know. We'll soon see. Viewers, make sure you check out all our previous episodes of the Saw franchise. We cover everything from Saw 1 to Saw 7 to Jigsaw, Spiral. Yeah, it's a fucking journey, let's just say that. Make sure you subscribe to us on TikTok and all the other social media platforms. And if you hated this episode,
fuck off, Amanda.